Welcome back to Fox Explainer. Today, I'll show you the 2014 drama crime film, The Drop. Spoilers ahead. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Watch out and take care. Bob Sajanowski says that the streets of Brooklyn are not the safest in the world on a normal night. All of the money moves from person to person until it gets to a drop bar, which is a place chosen at random to be the city's safe deposit box. Even the owners don't know when their bars will be the new drops. They just have to take the money and not ask too many questions. He says that his job is just to wait and take care of Cousin Marvin's bar. On a new night, a group of men toast an old friend with a free drink, which Marvin, who used to own the bar, doesn't think is quite right. Bob explains why he did what he did by saying that it's been 10 years since Richie Well and was last seen, but people don't seem to forget him so quickly. Marvin also calls Bob's bluff about how he treats Millie, a sad old lady who always stays there late and is a regular customer. Bob is an nice guy despite how he looks and what he does for a living. He goes to church and gets along well with people, even though he is a small talker. As he walks through the streets, he hears something far away, but he can't make out what it is. When he looks more closely, he sees that a small boxer puppy is bleeding and crying out in a trash can. After Bob saves him, he meets the house owner. He tries to explain what happened, but she is more afraid of the man being in her yard. After taking his picture to protect herself, the woman told him her name was Nadia and asked him to come inside. They treat the puppy's wound, and Bob finds out that Nadia works as a waitress now but used to save animals. She tells Bob that the puppy is not a boxer but a pit bull, which is a hard-to-place breed. Bob thinks like everyone else that pit bulls are dangerous dogs, but Nadia tells him that the owners are mostly to blame for their bad reputation. Bob can't help but notice some marks on Nadia's neck as they talk, but she quickly changes the subject by offering him a crate for the puppy. She can't keep the dog because she works at night, and Bob says he can't either because he was just passing through. Nadia tells him that the dog is going to be taken to the shelter and that the owner has a week to come get it. If not, it will be given to someone to take care of. Bob doesn't want to take on the responsibility, but he asks Nadia to keep the puppy for a few days so he can think about it. He talks to Marvin about it, and Marvin tells him that it's just a dog and that taking care of it shouldn't seem like an impossible task. After a normal night at the bar, a couple of masked thieves burst in and demanded the loan from the night. Marvin tries to talk to them, but they are too scared to say anything. Bob notices that one of them has a watch that seems to be stuck at a certain time. As soon as the thieves leave, Bob and Marvin go looking for Rarty, the doorman of the bar, who is hurt and lying in an alley. When the situation is over, Detective Evandro Torres shows up and tells Bob that he is one of the churchgoers who always sees him there. When Torres looks into what happened, Bob tells him about the clue in the watch. He also says that only the cash from the register was taken and that nothing else illegal was done. During a casual conversation, Torres says that he has noticed that Bob never takes communion at church. Bob defends himself by saying that it's none of Torres's business. Marv criticizes Bob for giving away a clue about the watch as they leave. He says that since the thieves didn't get the big deal that day, they shouldn't worry about more. At least, that's what Bob thinks, and Marvin tells him that the bar owners will eventually want the money back. The next day, Bob is the first person at Mass, and then he goes to Nadia's to get the puppy. She also gives him a dish and some food. After he leaves, Bob is nervous and comes back a few seconds later to tell Nadia that he has never owned a dog before. They go shopping together, and Nadia tells them the basics. Bob chooses the name Rocco for the dog because he had seen a picture of Street Rocco in church that morning. On their way home, after dropping Nadia off at her house, a mysterious man watches them from a distance. This is how Bob starts to deal with his new life as Rocco's owner. Shavka Umarov, the owner of the bar, shows up at work with his men to show Marvin and Bob that they have a hurt man in the back of their van. They talk about the theft from the other night, and he threatens them to get his money back. Detective Torres looks into Umarov's bar as part of his investigation. He wants to know more about Marv and his history with the bar because he thinks Marv had something to do with the robbery. Marvin is nervous at home, and when he leaves, he runs into one of the masked robbers, who tells him that it was all his idea. The next morning, Bob and Rocco go for a walk in the park, and while they are there, they run into Nadia. She tells him that he can hire her to watch Rocco while he works at the bar, since Christmas is over and she no longer has a shift at the restaurant. At Marv's house, his sister Dottie tells him that their father, who is in debt, will be moved to a worse place because of unpaid bills. Even though she says she might unplug him, Marv insists on keeping him alive because he is sure that his plan to rob the bar will work. Bob and Nadia's relationship gets better because of Rocco, but when she leaves the park, the mysterious guy comes back and praises the dog, which Bob takes with a grain of salt. Later, the same person knocks on Bob's door and asks about Rocco. Bob tells him that the dog is now his, and the man walks away, but not before grabbing an umbrella and making threats. During a trip with Nadia, she says that Bob is the only person who doesn't ask about her bruises. He tells her that it's none of his business, and she agrees. She says that during one of her bad times, she hurt herself with a potato peeler. The trip is cut short when Rocco makes the waitress ask them to leave. Marv tells Bob that the Umarov case is making him nervous because he thinks he is being watched, and Bob brings up the man looking for his dog. Bob goes outside to fix some trash cans and finds a bag with money and an arm in it. He thinks it is the money that was stolen the night before because the arm has the same stopwatch on its wrist. He decides to bat the arm himself. Marvin compliments him on how well he seems to handle everything, but he scolds him for mentioning the watch clue the night before. As they talk, the mystery man walks back into the bar and greets Bob. He also says hello to Nadia, which shows that he knows her. Marvin tells Bob that the man is Eric Deeds, a dangerous thug in the slums, and that he should be careful around him because it is said that he made Richie well and go missing. Bob takes care of the arm by throwing it into the sea while playing with Rocco. Right after that, Detective Torres shows up and tells Bob that they are still looking into the robbery. He says that Eric Deeds used to work at the bar, but Bob says that is not true. He then takes Rocco to Nadia's house. He talks about Eric Deeds, which starts a small fight with Nadia that ends with her leaving in a huff. Umarov goes to the bar after telling Marvin about this mistake. Bob gives him a drink and some money, which he takes. He then says that the next drop job is on Super Bowl night. Bob comes by to get Rocco, and Nadia says she's sorry for her bad mood. He's just worried about how she is with Deeds and how much Deeds talks about Rocco. Nadia says that Deeds used to be her boyfriend, but that they broke up because their relationship got too complicated. Bob doesn't think anything bad of her, and he says that neither he nor Rocco blames her for anything. She asks him about his connection to the bar, and Bob tells her that Marvin is his real cousin, so they've known each other for a long time. Bob used to be part of a crew that made money back in the day. He quit that life, though, and now he just hangs out at the bar. Marv is also looking for Fitz, who was involved in the robbery. Fitz tells Marv that his brother has gone missing. Marv tells him about the job with the Super Bowl, but Fitz doesn't want to get too close. Before leaving him, Marv asks Fitz to close the trunk of the car. When Fitz does so, Marv hits him from behind with a new car and drives away from the crime scene. Bob drops Nadia off at her house, and when he comes back, he finds Deeds' umbrella in Rocco's cage. Marv runs into Deeds at a coffee shop and tries to talk to him. It seems that Deeds doesn't like the idea of Bob feeling better because he has a dog, so Marvin offers Deeds a way to solve their problem. Detective Torres gets a hold of Deeds' file and reads it. He is interested in what he sees because he knows something else about Deeds' story. Bob goes to Deeds' house. Deeds tells him that he will let everything go if Bob gives him $1,000 the next day. If he doesn't, he'll call the police and get his dog back so he can hurt it whenever he wants. Then, Bob goes to see Marv and tells him that they'll have temporary workers on Super Bowl night. Bob tells him that he thinks Marv had something to do with the robbery, but Marv gets angry and tells him to leave. Instead of going with Bob to get the money, Deeds breaks into Nadia's house the next morning and forces her to go on a date that night, which upsets her. That night, people come to the bar, and Bob keeps rushing around nervously to take care of them and do Umarov's dirty work. Everything seems to get worse when Nadia and Deeds show up out of nowhere. Bob talks to the man and asks him why he's there with Nadia and why he didn't look for the money in the morning. Deeds doesn't say much and talks on the phone with Marv, who tells him not to do anything hasty. Instead, when the bar closes, Deeds is left alone with Nadia and Bob. Bob gives him the money, but Deeds isn't happy with that, so he asks to check the safe in just 4 minutes. He tells Nadia that he will hurt her and asks to see Marv. Bob tells him that Marv used to be a thief who liked to gamble when he was younger. Then, one day, a man went to the bar and left owing money. The kid went to Atlantic City and won $22,000, which he used to pay Marv back. But for the child's safety, they had to get rid of him. They now saw him as a business opportunity. Bob took matters into his own hands and got rid of the boy in a way that was almost cruel. The boy was Richie Wellen, who Deeds was framed for his disappearance years earlier. While Deeds admits that it was him who took care of Richie, Bob quickly draws and shoots Deeds twice, fulminating him instantly, revealing his cold and heartless nature to Nadia. After that, Bob starts insulting Deeds, with Nadia making him understand what just happened. She asks to leave, and Bob promises her that no one else will ever hurt her again. The girl leaves, promising that she won't say anything about what she saw, but Bob is sure of it. He tells her that he's not like those people around him despite everything. As they leave, Marv is seen outside the bar, keeping an eye on everything. Deeds' phone starts ringing, and Bob answers, having his suspicions. Marv is on the other end of the line, but they are both mute to the call. Bob starts making plans to get rid of Deeds' body, and then he and Rocco go see Umarov and his men. Umarov tells him that he talked to Marv so that Bob could now own the bar. He also tells him that one of his goons kills Marv from afar. It would now be Bob's bar, and as long as he saved Umarov's money, everything would be fine. Umarov leaves Bob, making him feel even more alone than before. Now that Bob is the new owner, he thinks about how maybe the devil doesn't exist. When God says goodbye to the world, he just says, "You cannot enter. Please go away." The next day, Detective Torres goes to the bar to comfort Bob. Bob says that Marv's deal was a carjacking, but Torres thinks it was more like an execution. He changes the subject to Deeds, who they say they saw the night before at the bar. Bob says that he didn't notice anything strange because it was Super Bowl night, and the detective says that Deeds disappeared without a trace, just like Richie Wellen. Torres is confused by all of these disappearances, and Bob stays in line by acting like he hasn't seen anything. He just says that this is how things go on those streets and that Deeds might show up soon, even if it's in a mental hospital. Torres tells him that Deeds was in an asylum the night Wellen went missing, so the stories don't match up. Deeds told the story because he thought it would give him street cred, but they never found out who did it. Before Torres leaves, he tells Bob what he thinks is going on, and Bob no longer feels safe about it. Bob walks Rocco to Nadia and tells her that he doesn't want to hear from Rocco ever again. Instead, she goes to get her jacket while Bob and Rocco wait outside with excitement. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more and hit the like button to help me out, and also leave a comment if you want me to explain your favorite film. Until next time, take care.